Hello. If you're a follower of mine, you'll know that I like to grow vegetables in buckets. Small ex-cut flower water buckets. You'll also know that this year I've got some fabric bags to grow vegetables in, and that I'm actually conducting a trial. It's a small scale trial, but a trial nevertheless. And what I'm doing is I'm growing vegetables in bags and vegetables in buckets. And the title of the trial is Grow Vegetables in Buckets and Bags, which is best? The idea being that at the end of the growing season, when we start to harvest vegetables, or if we keep a tally of the vegetables we harvest through the season, then at the end of the season we can look at the numbers and maybe make a judgment. Buckets are better than bags for growing vegetables, bags are better than buckets, I don't know. And maybe this won't be that conclusive, maybe they'll look just the same, bags or buckets, I don't know. But what I do know is the first vegetable that's going to give us that answer is garlic. Yeah, I'm growing some garlic. I'm growing 4 heads of garlic in a bucket and 4 heads of garlic in a bag. And they've been in now about 7 months. And there's been a significant development over the last week. Let me tell you about it. Most, if not all, of those garlics have developed scapes. That's an indication, I think, that the plant's mature. It's thrown up a seed head. And there's probably no need to leave it any longer. But I've asked your advice, and I've had lots of advice on this about garlic, about when to harvest it. And I think the general consensus is once the scapes appear, take them off, give the plant 2 or 3 more weeks, and then harvest it. But another indicator that might make you go sooner or later is the appearance of the garlic plant. Are all the bottom leaves crisp? Are they yellow? Is it falling over? Well, you may as well harvest that plant. It's on its way out. But my garlic looks really strong and healthy. It's green. It looks vibrant. I think it does anyway. And so I think there's still some growing in that garlic. So what I'm going to do is take those scapes off and then let it go another 2 or 3 weeks and then harvest it. And then we can make a judgment which is best. Grow garlic in buckets, grow garlic in bags. Oh, and one other thing before we go outdoors and do this. Another thing that I like to do is that when I start a vegetable off in a bucket, or a bag for that matter, I like to have reserves. If I'm growing 4 and 1 falls over, I like to have a reserve. If one of the first team gets injured, we bring on a reserve. And so I've got a couple of garlics growing in yogurt pots. They were the reserves, but they weren't needed. All the garlic in the buckets and bags has got to the end of its road without any mishap. So we didn't need the reserves. So what we're going to do, we're going to harvest the reserves as well. Oh, and by the way, they've both got scapes on as well. So we're going to do the lot. We'll take the 2 garlic in the yogurt pots, and then we'll do the bucket and the bag. Are you up for this? Yeah, of course you are. I've been waiting for this for 7 months. I've never ever grew any decent garlic. Now I know they say you shouldn't count your chickens before they hatch, because you may have 8 eggs, like I've got 8 garlic, but you may not get 8 chicks, and I may not get 8 good garlic bulbs. I don't know, can't see them. And I know people have told me to grub down and feel around the bulb and make a judgment, but they're coming out anyway. I'm going to harvest them anyway. So I'm not up for that. I'm just going to do what I've said I'm going to do, and then we're going to harvest that garlic. Hey, exciting, isn't it? Woo! Surely it is. Okay, I have a couple of things I need to do first, and providing the weather holds out, we'll go and remove those scapes. Okay, stay with it. These are the reserves. There was no room in the raised bed for these garlic. There was no room in the buckets, and the bags were full. So these are just a couple of reserves that didn't quite make it into the first team, but they've grown on in these yoghurt pots, and they've both produced a scape. So we're going to take the scapes off, and in 2 or 3 weeks time, when we take the rest of the garlic, we'll take this garlic as well. But let me show you the root system that these garlic have produced. Totally root bound, as you can see. I mean, this garlic would have done a lot better planted up, but the beds were full, the bags were full, the buckets were full. I couldn't do it, so they stayed in the yoghurt pots. But hey, it might be that if we get some decent garlic from the yoghurt pots, and you are strapped for space like I am, you might want to grow garlic next season in yoghurt pots. But we'll find out when we take these out. But I've said that's in 2 or 3 weeks time. Right, let's remove the scapes. One. Two. Okay, I'll get this out the barrow and we'll have a look at what we've got in the bag and what we've got in the bucket. So these are the 4 garlic growing in the bag, and I can count 4 scapes. So we're going to take all 4 scapes. I think you'll agree they do look quite healthy. They don't look as though they've stopped growing just yet. I think there is some more growing left in them. And perhaps even more so once these scapes have been removed. Okay, let's do the bucket. Now, I think we're only looking at 2 scapes in this bucket, maybe 3, I don't know. There's definitely 2. And I think that's the 3rd scape coming up, and this one hasn't produced a scape yet. So we're going to remove these 2 scapes. We'll wait till the others get a bit more developed, and then we'll remove those as well. There's our 2 scapes. Okay, we'll set these aside now, 2 to 3 weeks, then we'll take the lot. Which is best for growing garlic, bags or buckets? Who knows, maybe we will know in 2 to 3 weeks time. It's on the end of this video, so stay with it. These are the reserves. You saw these earlier in the video. They're the reserves. They're just starting to produce cloves. There aren't many of them and they're not very big, but I can feel that there are individual cloves within these bulbs. That's about the size they are. So if you wanted to give this a go, if you're really strapped for space, yeah, you could do this in yogurt pots. I've just done it. Now, one thing I want to do when we go into the bucket and the bag, one of the selling points of the bag is that it air prunes. It air prunes the roots. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing, and I've never seen any evidence of it. But what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get the garlics out of the bucket as 4 garlic as a unit, and then break that soil ball open and leave the roots intact. Have a look at the root structure in the bucket, and then we'll try and do the same with the bag, and we'll make a comparison. We'll see if we can see if there's any evidence of that air pruning. There's the root ball. It's produced by 4 garlic. Okay, so we've got roots from about there to there. It's shot through with roots, most of them at the bottom of this ball. Right, let's break it open and see. Oh, there was one other thing I meant to mention. These garlic cloves were planted at a depth of 4 inches. I've done that because I'd asked on a number of occasions for people who had grown garlic successfully to tell me what the planting depth was, and the number said about 4 inches, so these cloves are in about 4 inches, should be about there. Might be easier said than done. Oh no, we're breaking open now. Oh, smell that garlic, blimey. Here they come, here they come. Yeah, here they come. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash the soil out of these roots to try and get a better idea of just how much root there is on each of these. I know we're losing some at the moment, but there's nothing else we can do. But I just wanted to compare the amount of root on these grown in the bucket with the amount of root of those grown in a bag. Well, these look a decent garlic, to be honest. They look as good as anything I've produced. How's that looking? 4 heads of garlic from a 10-inch water bucket. Right, let's put these to one side and let's get the bag into the barrow. Okay, this is the bag. Now I know that the roots of this garlic have actually gone through the bottom of this bag, so this one might be a bit more difficult to get out without damaging the roots, but we'll give it a go. There we go. Let me put that bag to one side. Hey, these look good garlic. Let me just take the soil off. Hey, 4 garlic grown in a small fibre bag. I think we're happy with those as well, and there is definitely cloves being produced in this garlic. I can see the lumps and the bumps. Okay, I'm going to tidy the barrow up and we're going to wash these roots off. Same with the ones from the bucket. Then we'll lay them out. We'll see if we can make a judgment which is best. Grow garlic in buckets, grow garlic in bags. I'm not too sure this is going to reveal much, but I wanted to do it, so I'm going to do it. I want to have a look at these roots, see if there's any evidence of air pruning anywhere. Right, I'll pop these back in the bucket, I'll change that water, and we'll do the garlic in the bag. Okay. Well, I've got to admit, just looking at these and looking at the ones that have gone before, there's nothing definitive that I can see that says those roots have been air pruned and those roots haven't been air pruned. It just isn't. But I'm going to lay them out on the garden now, lay them out on the grass, get a closer look at. That sound okay. Okay, meet you down the garden. Can you grow garlic in small water buckets? Yes, you can. Can you grow garlic in small fabric bags? Yes, you can. Can you grow garlic in yogurt pots? Only if you're desperate. Okay, so I'm not too sure we've learned anything in terms of air pruning in this little trial. Now what we have learned is that we can grow garlic in buckets and bags, and there doesn't seem to be a lot in it. I wouldn't like to say one's better than the other based on this small trial, and I wouldn't like to say that I have or I haven't seen evidence of air pruning, because we may have left a lot of roots in the bag, in the soil. We might not have got them all out. Same for the bucket. We might not have got all those roots out. But you're seeing what I'm seeing. Make a judgment. Tell me what you think. Do you think the bucket beat the bag? Do you think the bag beat the bucket? Do you think it's a draw? What about those garlic in the yogurt pots? Hey, if you are really strapped for space, something you might want to give a go. But in any case, if you've got no allotment, no big backyard, no big garden, no garden, these don't take up a lot of room. They really do not. So you might want to give these a crack. Okay, so I've enjoyed making this video. I've enjoyed this trial. I'm glad I've got some garlic across the finish line, because in previous years I've had some issues. But hey, it looks as though it's worked, doesn't it? It looks as though it's worked. So I'm happy with this result. This is Homegrown Veg, signing out.